extra time.
So that was the shortest test match since 1935. How do you react to what's happened over the last couple of days?
Yeah, it was obviously a very challenging surface. I think we're bitterly disappointed. I feel like we have probably missed an opportunity, more so in the first innings than anything. And you look at the position we found ourselves in at 70 on for 2, we had a real chance to, in hindsight, if we'd have even got 200, that would have been a very good score on that wicket, and the game would look completely different. So it's slightly frustrating. It's something that we've got to learn from. We've got to get better. And we've got to keep looking to find a way of scoring runs on surfaces like this, but it is very challenging. You could see that with the scores throughout the whole game, the way that India batted as well, with guys that are more used to playing on turning wickets.
Was the degree of difficulty just too great for English players playing on surfaces like that? I mean, was actually the pitch a bit of a lottery?
No, I honestly think the ball had quite a big factor in this wicket. I think that the plastic coating on it and the hardness of the seam compared to the red SG ball meant that it almost gathered pace off the wicket if it hit the shiny side, if it didn't hit the seam, it almost gathered pace, and we're actually due to be beaten for pace, not necessarily beaten on the inside, which, if you weren't up for pace, you look back at some of the replays and actually the bats would probably end up in the right position and would have covered the ball. But because of the nature of it gathering pace off the wicket, I think that had a big part to play in things, and credit to XtraTime in particular. I think he utilised that and exploited that exceptionally well. And found a very good method, very repeatable method on that surface, which made it very challenging.
28 of the 30 wickets went to spinners. Dom Bess was left out. Can you explain that selection or non-selection?
Yeah. I mean, we look to try and play our best side in terms of utilising that pink ball. Thought the wicket was going to hold together better than it did, and throughout the whole practice days, it seemed around, it swung prodigiously and seemed like a real threatening option. Easy in hindsight to say otherwise and select a different team. But we wanted to give our seamers, which we feel is a big strength of ours, the chance to exploit those conditions. And unfortunately, it was a slight misread in that regard.
Joe, is it time to return to independent umpires as soon as possible in Test cricket?
Look, I've got no problems with the umpires on the field. I thought they were outstanding. Actually, when it's challenging for the batters, it's definitely challenging for the umpires. And I thought they both had very good games, to be fair. I think you're referring to what happened when we were in the field, and it's more the frustration of the process. It wasn't a frustration with the individual at all. It's the fact that we want the process to be consistent. It doesn't matter if it's just for us. It's for both teams. You want everyone to get the opportunity to, whether it's look at more than one camera like that. That was the case this time around. We'd seen it in the first game, in the previous game, where things weren't checked for as long as they could have been. And we had a good conversation with Jana at the end of day's play. We explained our frustrations and what we wanted to get off our chest, and felt like through that we came to a very good understanding, and I felt like we've actually dealt with it very well, to be fair. It was a good conversation. They took on board what we had to say, and hopefully that improves things moving forward. Hi, Jeremy.
Despite what you say about the pitch, I mean, Andrew Strauss was saying on commentary back in the UK that it was a lottery and it was unfair cricket. I mean, does he have a point? Because Test matches shouldn't really be finishing inside 2 days, should they?
Let's not hide away from the fact that we've been outplayed again. On this surface, we've still been outplayed, and we have to accept that. But it's a real shame, because it's a fantastic stadium. There's 60,000 people come to watch a brilliant, iconic Test match, and I feel for them. They've come to watch Virat Kohli face Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, or Jack Leach, and watch Ashwin against our top batters like Ben Stokes, and almost feel they've been robbed. They've instead had to watch me get wickets on there, which shouldn't be the case. I shouldn't be bowling. So, that's I think the frustration for a lot of people. And the fact of the matter is it was challenging for both sides, and as a player, all you can do is play what's in front of you. And credit to India, they outplayed us on that wicket.
Yeah, you must have enjoyed that 5 for 8, but weren't you thinking too that you should have picked another spinner?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's in hindsight, it's very easy to look at things like that. We tried to exploit that pink ball, and we thought that the wicket would hold together better than it did. And unfortunately, they didn't have the impact on the game that we anticipated. So it's easy to sit here now and say we could have gone a completely different way, but it was a very strong team, and it was frustrating that it turned out the way it did.
And Joe, 193 is 6th lowest England aggregate for Test runs in a match. I mean, what would you say about England's spectacular batting decline since the first innings in Chennai?
I think that the fact that it has been very tricky conditions. You look at the scores on both teams within this game. It has been hard work. It's been hard for some very experienced batters in these conditions to score runs as well. It's not just us that are struggling. So, of course, we can be better. We can certainly be better. And the thing that's frustrating, I think, for a number of the guys in our dressing room is we found ourselves in a position at 70 for 2 in that first innings, and we didn't really make it count. And in low-scoring affairs on wickets that do deteriorate, that first innings can be really crucial. So I think that's something that we will look back on. We'll try and, if we get in a position of strength like that again, or in a position where we can potentially get ahead in the game, then we have to take it. And it's a young group. We can't have any scars going into this last game. We've got to keep looking forward, and we've got to keep remembering that we won 6 on the bounce coming into the last 2 games away from home, 6 on the bounce in the subcontinent. You don't become a bad team overnight. And we've got to be realistic about a number of different things. And if we are going to get better, then we've got to understand there's going to be the odd bump in the road. We're not always going to be perfect, but it's how we respond. And that's the most important thing, is that we go into next week with a very good attitude. We take the hurt from this, and we apply it in that performance, and we try and use it as motivation to come away from this series with something. Yeah,
just finally from me, Joe, the World Test Championship hopes have gone as well. Were there any positives, though, to take from this match, apart from your bowling and maybe Zach's batting in the first innings?
I thought Jack bowled beautifully as well, to be honest. I really did. I thought he bowled beautifully, similar to Axel. He kept the stumps in play, and I'm sure he'll take that confidence going forward. But as you mentioned, Zach was brilliant. I think he timed the ball as well as anyone on that surface in the first innings. And it just proved how important it was to get through those first 20 balls. He played with real fluency. It was great to see him come back in and make a contribution. I think he'll just look at things and probably want to convert that 50 if he gets another opportunity further down the line.
Hit the subscribe option and the bell icon to get all the exclusive sports videos on XtraTime.